Hi guys, welcome back to my channel English in a Blink, and today I'm going to look at graphs. Yes, so you know I am doing this series on IELTS preparation, and in that describing a graph is a very important part. Alright, so you have to do that. So that's the reason I decided that today I'll be looking at the vocab that you have to use if you're going to be describing any kind of charts or graphs. Alright, so without wasting time, let's go. Alright, so to start with, you need an introduction, all right? It's just like your essays, we need an introduction. So it could be a graph that is there to describe, or it could be like a table, pie chart, a bar chart, or a diagram. It could be anything, all right? So when you're starting with your introduction, you can say, oh, it gives information about or on, that it provides information about or on, it shows or it illustrates. If there is like a comparison, so then you can talk about that it compares, or like it is like an explanation, so then you can use like it explains why, or if it is describing something, so it describes, or if it is like a survey, so it draws the conclusion. So whatever the chart or the bar graph or whatever it is, you're looking at what is that they want from you. You can choose any of those openings. Okay, so then again, like things, there are, like I said, there's a typical vocab when you are describing these charts or your graph. So when there's like a rise, all right, so there's a rise of, or an increase of, or a growth of, there's a peak or a surge, all right, so these are kind of your nouns, and then you have similar like verbs. Again, you have to form your sentence, but don't forget when you are describing like rise, all right, so this is what different kind of words that you have used. So it's like a increase or a surge or a growth, or it's grow, peak, all right. And again, like a sharp increase, large rise, so to rocket or to soar, all right. So different like things which you can use to describe when you're talking about a rise. Again, the opposite, when you're describing like a fall, so it's a decrease, it's a decline, it's a dip, or same way you can use it for verbs like dive or to plunge or to plummet if it is like a sharp fall. Okay, so different words, just giving you a vocab which you can use because you don't have to do your repetition. Yes. All right, so again, fluctuation. So again, you can use your fluctuation, variation, or to fluctuate or to vary. All right, so these are just your vocab which you can use when you're describing your any kind of charts, depending on what is it that it is talking about. All right, so again, like I said before, you have to start with an introduction. Introduction is a must. Okay, you cannot miss that. So introduction, it always explains what the chart or the graph or the bar is about and gives you an overview of the main points. All right, so make sure that you include one, like I'm always, I cannot stress that enough, that you need an introduction, okay? It could be short, it doesn't have to be, like your essay one, but it can be short, but you need to have an introduction which will explain what exactly is it that you're going to be doing in this, okay? So look for the key data and make sure that you are comparing and contrasting the data, not just listing the data from one section to the other, all right? So whatever it is, you have to show like a connection. So you will keep on comparing and contrasting and not just put it there. Okay, this shows this and this one shows this. You have to show like a contrast, all right? So, well, I will be giving you an example in my latest slides that, if there's like a fluctuation in the sense, and you can compare that. If you compare the books, which I'll be using, like I said, so we are showing you a bar graph in next slides, which talks about different genre of books. So like there's a sharp increase in the sales with romance. If you compare it with what kind of autobiography, all right? So if you're comparing, this is what you can show your contrast, not just listing the data from one section to the next. If you just write about what happened to X and what happened to Y and what happened to Z without showing any relationship between them, you will not get a high score, okay? So you have to maintain that, okay, this is what is happening. This one was when this one was increased, the other one was actually on a little decline, and then you see a little rise after, in let's say 2006, and then next year there was again the growth, it was stable, something like that. Okay, So in the body paragraphs, make sure that you show the connection between the pie charts and the graph or the bar chart rather than just listing the data from each separately. Okay, so like we said, so you have to show like connection, whatever is your graph or a chart, but you have to not just list the data, but show like what is happening, what is the connection. Focus on similarities and differences. Okay, so in your body paragraph, you have to show like if there is like a similarity in terms of sales, you show that. If there's difference, you have to show that. And again, you have to analyze. Okay, so to do this, you will need to look for similarities and differences when you first analyze the chart, and you will need to decide what can logically be put together or not. This means that you don't have to describe everything that you see in the bar chart, just the key points. All right, so there might be a lot of things into that, but you will have to find some key points rather than describing everything and making it into a clutter. All right, so see what is happening, things which are actually important, which are like the key points, pick them and then show their similarities and differences. Okay, so use your logic. Use your logic. Don't just, okay, whatever is there, I'll just put everything. No, you don't have to do that. So you have to pick and you have to see like, okay, what is going on? Well, does it talk about, and again, you can pair. Let's say if it is talking about like different countries, all right? So then you can pair probably like Asian countries. So you can pair them together, or maybe developing or developed countries, pair them together when you are, instead of writing about each country, pair them together. All right, let's say into like this is your Asia or this is your Europe, instead of mentioning each and every country. Okay, so like I said, use your logic and just use your key points. Do not make it into a clutter. Okay, then like I said, I'll be showing you like example. So for example, for this chart, which is over here, okay, I will bring this window down here, which is me, and oh, okay, all right. So yeah, I'm here, and just a moment. Okay. Okay, give me a sec. Yep. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. All right, so like we are showing this chart here, so you might say it is interesting to note that romance novels earned the most income each year between 2006 and 2010, with sales ranging from £70,000 to £150,000. Okay, so this is what like a bar chart is. So you look over here, these are your gross earnings, and this is your year, and these different colored, they are your charts, yeah, like the book sales. So blue one is your young adult, yellow is your classic, and then red one indicates your mystery, green is for romance, and the red is your sci-fi and fantasy. Okay, and like I said, these are your years. So they're talking about like, okay, if you can see, so this is what it's saying. It is interesting that romance novels earn the most income each year between 2006 and 2010. So which is your romance? Green, that's right. So between 2006, so here is your romance and here is your romance. So you can see that's what we have mentioned, that this is what happened between 2006 and 2010. If you'll see, so this is your romance is always at the top, all right? So that's what we've mentioned, that between, this is what happened. How are you going to tell like a relation between them? That romance novels earn the most income between, each year between 2006 and 2010, ranging. So you start, the range is starting from here. Can you see? All right, so starting from £70,000 and it is going to £115,000. All right. In contrast, a sci-fi and fantasy novels were the poorest. Okay, now do you see that what are we doing? So we took the one that the sales were highest, and then you are contrasting it with the one where the sales were lowest. So this is your sci-fi and fantasy. So this one, red one here, that is actually red is your, this one is your mystery, and this rather brownish, okay, this is your sci-fi, and this, as you can see here, 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 these are the lowest. Okay, so that's what we said. In contrast, sci-fi and fantasy novels were the poorest revenue generators of 5 category earnings. All right, only £20,000 at its highest point in 2007 and a mere £10,000 at its lowest point in 2009. Okay, so it talks about 20,000 at its highest. So where was it the highest? Here, okay, in 2007, and mere £10,000 at its lowest in 2009 over here. All right, so this is what you're looking at. So this is what, like when I said, so you have to look for key points. So there are lots of books here, but what did we focus on? We focused on the one that the sales were the highest, and then the one the sales were the lowest, and then we looked at the contrast. Okay, so group the data together so that you have a well-organized and coherent answer. It is a good idea to divide your answer into 2 or 3 paragraphs. So it is well organized. To do this, you should group similar ideas together into paragraphs or sections. All right, so organize, gather your thoughts, make them coherent, and then again, 2 to 3 paragraphs is all you need, but it has to be well organized, okay? And whenever you have similar ideas, group them together. Use a wide variety of sentence structures, include complex sentences and simple sentences. Now, if you haven't looked, and I've already done a lesson on this one as well, when things that you have to do when you're doing your writing, basic things. So this was included there. If you haven't looked at it, go back and check. Okay, so yeah, again, when you're making your sentence structure, use your complex sentences and simple sentences, include everything together. It is equally important to use appropriate transitions between describing each data point. Yes, all right, so when you're making your transitions, it is very important, all right, to use your appropriate transitions. So, all right, so like in contrast, make sure you have used exactly, the correct appropriate transitions. This is very, very much required. Okay, always provide a short summary or a conclusion of what you included in your essay. Online is enough. One line is enough here. For example, it can be seen from the chart that overall 2007 was the best year for book sales in all 5 categories. Okay, so unlike essays, you don't need a big summary, or you don't need a big introduction, but you do need one when you're describing your charts or your graphs. All right, so it can be short, but you definitely have to sum it. So like over here, like we just showed you in the example, so then you can talk about like the sales were the best for all the 5 categories in 2007 here. Okay, so here is when sales for all the categories were at its best. So this is one way of summing it up. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this lesson. I hope you have learned how to describe your graphs now. All right, so no more confusions. All right, so don't forget to like, press the bell icon, and do not forget to subscribe, guys. Until we meet next time. Bye for now.